Okay, so now we are on Thursday. Thursday is the 22nd, and we are going to be doing star practice. We're going to be doing Bob's test number 4, and we're going to be doing star practice worksheet of solving equations. You should have picked that up on your way in. So let's go ahead and go to Bob's test number 4. You should have just graded the slope and rate of change worksheet and turned that in. We're going to go to Bob's test number 4. Here's Bob's test number 4. Bob's name today is Bobby. This is Bobby's test. We're going to do the same thing we have been doing, so let's look at this one. Which statement above the quadratic parent function is true? Quadratic. That means you're going to have a squared term. Y equals x squared. That's your quadratic parent function. That's just your regular old parabola. Like this. Okay, so which statement is true? Its graph is symmetrical about the x-axis. So on the x-axis, the graph is symmetrical? No, it's not on the x-axis. It's symmetrical about the y-axis? Yes, that's your axis of symmetry, is the y-axis. Its domain is the set of all negative, non-negative numbers. Domain. So domain would be all real numbers, not just positive ones. So that's not true. He's wrong. Its range is the set of all real numbers. No, it's not. The range is your y's. So on this one, it's going to be all positive numbers because it's going up. So that's not true. So your answer is B. Number 2, a candy company sells cases of chocolate bars. The company has fixed costs of $30,000, and each case of chocolate bars costs an additional $5 to make. Okay, so fixed costs. These are things that are important to know. The company sells each case for $10. The graph of the system of linear equations represents the company's cost and revenue for manufacturing and selling X cases of chocolate bars, as shown below. Okay, how many cases of chocolate bars will the company need to sell in order for cost and revenue to be equal? Okay, so where they're going to be equal is where they will cross, where the lines were crossed. Okay, so you can't see that on the graph right now. You know it's probably going to happen somewhere along here, this area, I guess. But in your calculator, you could put these two functions into y equals, and then graph them and see where they cross. See where the x and the y's are crossing. You would just look and see on the line where they cross. Okay? So how many cases of chocolate bars will this company need to sell in order for cost of revenues to be equal? Well, I'm not really sure if this is correct. This is what Bob thinks. But I want you to put it in your calculator and use your trace function and see if you can go and see where they're intersecting and see how many cases of chocolate bars. The number of cases is going to be your x-axis. So that's going to be your x, where your x and your y are equal. Oh, no, where they cross. It's going to be where x's are. Okay, so see what the x value is where they cross. Just your x value is what you need to know where they cross, where the two lines intersect. Okay, on number 3, when you're ready to start up with me again, answer number 2 as a class on the calculator. Now I'll start when you're ready. Pick back up with me and press, you can unpause it with number 3. Number 3 says, which inequality is shown on the graph? Okay, we have a dotted line. So it's not going to be equal to, we know that. And it is going puff, puff, positive. So it's a positive slope. What else can we see here? We don't really know where the shading is. It's really hard to see because the copier didn't copy right, but you can see there's little dots up here. So the shading is supposed to be above this line. So it's going to be greater than. So it's going to be greater than, not equal to, just greater than. So that means it's either going to be A or that's it, A. Because this is less than or equal to, this is greater than or equal to, and this is just less than. So the answer is A. He got that one wrong because it's a dotted line, and he chose an answer that has A equal to, so it would have to be solid. Number 4, the side lengths of the figure below are given in centimeters. Okay, so, here we go. Perimeter of this figure is 78. What's the value of x? Okay, basically all you're doing is adding your like terms and simplifying. Okay, so 78 is your perimeter, and then adding up all of your sides. Okay, so we have 2x minus 3 plus 2x plus 2x minus 3 again. That's those two. Plus 12 plus 2x and then plus x squared. Now we just combine all of our like terms. That's what they wrote here. It looks like x squared, 2x minus 3, 2x minus 3, 12, and 2x. Yes, so Bob is correct on that step. Now we need to make sure he is combining x like terms. He only has one x squared term. That's correct. So we have a 2x and a 2x and a 2x. That's going to make 6x. Check. We have a negative 3 and a 12. That's going to make a 9. Oh, and a negative 3 again, which would make a 6. Okay, that's correct. And all of that equals 78. So how do we get, once we get into this form right here, what do we need to do to solve to get x? We have to get it equal to 0, so we're going to move the 78 over. When we move the 78 over, we subtract 78 from both sides, and that's going to give you a positive 6 and a negative 78, which will give you a negative 72. So I would put this in your calculator into y equals x squared plus 6x minus 72. Go to your table and see where y is 0. Where y is 0, whatever x is your answer. If it's negative 12, then you got it right. If it's not, then I want you to write the correct answer. So press pause and solve that. And then after you do that, we are going to move on to our work today, which is solving equations. So press pause. When you're ready, pick back up with me. Okay. We're going to go on to our next activity, which is solving equations. So this is just solving equations, and the good news is it's just these 8 problems. So we're going to do all of them today. All you're doing here is solving for x. Okay. Remember, write these notes at the top. The first thing we want to do is do any distributing. Distribute anything. And then combine like terms if there's anything you need to clean up or on one side of the equal sign. And then solve for x. Okay, so there's no distribution, there's no parentheses here, and there's no like terms that we need to combine on each side of the parentheses. So really what we're doing here is just getting all the numbers on one side and all the x's on the other, so we can solve for x. So we're going to move this negative 14 over by adding 14 to each side. When we do that, we get negative 4x equals 16 plus 14, which is 30. And then we're going to divide by negative 4. 30 divided by negative 4. I believe there's a misprint here, and I'm trying to figure out what it is. Because that's not a whole number. That's a negative 7.5. We're going to go ahead and skip number 1. If y'all figure that out, maybe it's just because I'm tired. I'm literally filming 4 lessons at one time tonight, so that's a little crazy. Let's go to number 2. Number 2. Which value of x satisfies the equation 2/3 x minus 3 equals 11? So again, there's no distribution. We're going to get we don't have any like terms. We're just going to solve for x. So we're going to add 3 to both sides. And then that gets 2/3 x equals 14. So now, to get this x by itself, we're going to divide this 2/3 off each side, because this is multiplied, 2/3 times x. So the way we divide a fraction is we flip it and multiply. It's kind of confusing, but this will all cancel out over here, and then over here you're left with 14. You need to put that over 1, so it'll be in a fraction form, and then times 3 over 2. You flip it to divide. Divide two fractions, don't ask why. Just flip the second and multiply, right? So 14 times 3. Doing some hand calculation. 42. 42, and then 1 times 2 is 2. That's going to be 21. So your answer is B. Alright, so I'm going to do one more with you. I'm going to do number 3 with you, and then let you finish the rest on your own. So again, we do distribute if we can first. That's anything in parentheses. So we're going to multiply that 5 times everything inside the parentheses. So we do 5 times 2x is 10x. 5 times negative 9 is a negative 45. Plus 3 equals negative 7. Our number 2 step says to combine like terms. So we have a negative 45 and a 3. We can simplify those to be a negative 42. So we have 10x minus 42 equals negative 7. So now let's move that 42 over by adding 42. And then when you divide by 10, you get x equals 3.5, 3.5. And we have, that is D. So remember, do the same thing on 4. Distribute first, combine any like terms, then solve for x. On number 5, we have some like terms that you can combine here on each side of the equal sign. Do that first before you move things. Same, number 7, there's nothing you need to do first before you start moving things around. Distribute here and here, and solve for x. And here's distribute, solve for x. Okay, so I want you to do the rest of this on your own, please. You can use a partner help, but this is something we're going to check tomorrow in class. Have a good evening, or a good day, sorry.